Hey everybody, this is Brad from Johnson Small Engines, better known as the one-handed mechanic. If I can do it, you can too. Today we are working on a John Deere D110, and today, in my opinion, I'm going to show you how to install a transmission drive belt. And this will also work on the E series, S series, L series. Pretty much they haven't changed the design in many years, so this will go a long way. And I'm also going to show you some tools that we need. First thing we need to do, and as you can see, the mower deck is off. I'm going to put a link in the description below if you guys need to learn or know how to remove and then reinstall the mower deck on this. I'll put a link in the description. Now let's get this up in the air so you can see what I'm going to do. Okay, so I have it up in the air so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and show you the belt. Now this is for the D100 series. I definitely would check your John Deere dealership or your John Deere website and put your model number in to make sure. Now this is a newer number. They actually always change numbers, but this is a newer one. It's a UC30568. Double check your machine, and I highly recommend using OEM belts so you get it done right the first time. You don't have to worry about the size being too short or too long. I'm going to go ahead and use power tools. Just makes everything so much easier. The hardest part probably is going to be the bolt coming off the engine pulley. Sometimes it can be a little bit hard, but we also need to take a nut off the steering shaft. And it's so much easier just using power tools. If you have manual tools, then so be it. I'm using a 3/8 electric impact from Bauer. It's from Harbor Freight. We have some sockets here. We have a 19 millimeter, we have a 15 millimeter, and we have a 5/8. They're all 3/8. 15 millimeter wrench to get the guide off the back, or you can use an Allen key. I don't know what size that is. I don't do it that way. We're going to go ahead and replace the pulleys, a V pulley and a flat pulley. A couple hammers may be needed to move some things around, so let's get to it. First thing we want to do is put the emergency brake on. And what that does is it disengages your belt, so the belt tension is going to be loose right now. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take off the engine pulley first. Now this, if you guys can take this off, then please take it off, because the reason why I didn't is the guard has bent back so far. It just doesn't make it easy for me to do that, and I don't need to absolutely take it off, but if you can take it off, it just makes it easier to work with. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. So we're going to take this bolt down. It's a real long one. If you don't have power tools, holding this can be hard sometimes, and sometimes this pulley doesn't like to come off. Two holes right here will help if you need to use a puller. Normally these come off. Now this should wiggle, yeah, it just wiggles down, and when you take it off, just going to slide it out. There is a key inside here, okay, so there's a little dimple in the side of the pulley here. There's a key in there. It's pressed out metal. Up in the engine shaft here, there's a keyway. And you just have to make sure that when you put this back on again, that you line them up and then it'll slide up in there. Just remember that for putting it back on. Also, using Never Sees is definitely a plus. Forgot to mention that, but there is a can Never Sees down here. Anti-seize, Never Sees, whatever you want to call it. We need to get the belt down, and our problem is our steering shaft is in the way. So what I normally like to do with this is I use a magic marker, and I'll get the steering to the point where it's halfway between this, and you can count, forgot to tell you about this too, but you need a marker. You can count the teeth, and usually you can go from one side to the other. Just make sure you're in the center. And also the steering wheel up top, I like to have that straight. I'm going to go ahead and count teeth over. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we'll count from this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the center is 10 right here. And I'm also going to, just because, I'm going to go ahead and mark the tooth on there too. You don't have to, because that can go on no matter. This gear can go on. There's no right or wrong, except that you don't want to do it backwards, even though I don't think you can mess that up. Now at this point, I'm going to go around and we're going to mark the steering wheel. Okay, so we have everything lined up down there. We're just going to put a line on the column here and here. And it's just going to get us very close. Okay, so this nut is a 19 millimeter. Might be a 3/4 also. I'm going to use 19 millimeter. And I'm going to hold the tires just so this thing doesn't spin around on me. Okay, now this should come down, and as you can see, it's not really coming down. That's why I had the hammers. I'm going to take a mallet. You don't want to bugger up the threads on there. You can even put your nut on the end of the threads, and if you have just a metal hammer, put the nut on the end of the threads and you can hit that. Just be careful. You want to thread it on as far as you can. Alright, so it just slid off. Now if you have any problems with the teeth on these, or the teeth on your, this is a quadrant, I have a video on how to replace all this, so I'll put that also in the link in the description below. Now to get the belt out from this shaft, we have to push the shaft up, which means you're pulling your steering wheel up. Now I'm going to go around the other side and just pull it up another couple inches. Just be careful. You don't want to go up too far because there's a couple bushings that may fall. And there is one here. Alright, so I have it up about 3 inches. This should come through. Now it just dropped out. So let me just show you. This is the belt that's coming off. And as you can see, it looks like a cogged belt. It's not supposed to be cogged. It's supposed to be nice and smooth. And we are going to do both of the pulleys. To take off those pulleys, we're looking at 15mm socket. Remember that the one most forward to the engine is the flat pulley, and these should wiggle off. If they don't wiggle off, use a little bit of PB Blaster, let them soak for a while. The one on the bottom here is, this one's a little bit harder. And I just wiggle them side to side, and most of them come off. If they're tough, sometimes, like I said, a little PB Blaster in here and just pry back a little bit. Since you're replacing them, you're not gonna matter if you break them or not. Put a couple pry bars behind there, a couple screwdrivers, and that should help you out there. Okay, so now we're down to the back part, which is the hardest part, and we need to get the guide off. Okay, so the guide is down here. I'm not sure how much you're going to be able to see this, but it's down here. Now, you can do it 2 different ways. You can go from over here, where my fingers are at, you can go above the rear wheel, and you can go down with an Allen key over the top of the fan. I don't like doing it that way because I'm afraid I'm going to hurt that fan. You don't want to clip any of these fan wings or you'll be replacing the fan. Now you just have to get in here with a 15mm wrench. I'm using a very short one. You make sure you go counterclockwise. And the tedious part is, in the patience, is that you can only do about a 1/4 turn until, and this is actually coming out kind of stiff. So I'm kind of wondering if they have some kind of a Loctite on this. You don't need to have Loctite as long as you have this thing snugged up tight against the block. This is a steel guide, and I've never had one of these things back out. As long as you have it in correctly, it's coming out a little bit easier now. And depending on the lefty or righty, it's kind of hard for me to get in here on this side. I'm just trying to get you guys a good picture, a good view of this, but it'd be easier to get my hand in there. Let me see if I can. It feels like I should be able to turn this by hand. All right. There we go. Apologize for my fan coming on in the background. All right, so the guide's out. And as you can see on the top of it, it does actually have a place for an Allen key. I'm not sure what size that is, but you can use an Allen key. I just like doing it the old-fashioned way, just do it a little bit at a time. And now the belt should come out and around the back of the fan, and here we are. And boy, this baby is bad. This could have been original to the tractor. I always try to make sure the belt is going to be close to the original size. Even though I'm using an OEM belt, as long as you got the right belt, you shouldn't have a problem with it. And this one feels a little bit tighter, which is perfect because the old one's going to be a little bit worn, or actually a lot worn in that case. So we just need to go in reverse order. So I'm going to go around the fan. Now for me, the easiest step to put that guide back in is to get this belt taut, which means get this belt tight on the pulleys and then go back and put that guide in while everything is tight. Because if you just kind of hold it off to the side and try to put it in, I mean, sometimes it'll stay, but you have to make sure that it's on that V of the pulley and it has to stay up there. See, it's not staying up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put the new idler pulleys on. You could put a little never sees on here if you want to, but I don't have any problem. These things are falling on and off, so I'm not going to worry about that. They'll be fine. I'm going to put the nut on just a little bit so they don't fall down. I just need to be able to get the belt in here. This one here. All right. The V of the belt goes in the V of the pulley. Like that. Make sure you spin them to make sure you didn't put them on crooked. All right, now I'm just going to push this up. And I usually just set it on the crankshaft of the engine for now. Get it, make sure it's sitting back at the transmission pulley here. Try to get it into the V spot right there like so, and it'll sit there. I'm going to go ahead and put the engine pulley on, and like I said about that divot with the key, I'm going to get it close to where it lines up on the shaft. Just kind of sit it on the shaft. Now I'm going to put the belt around, push the belt around the pulley itself, and then push it up, and then you're going to have to wiggle this around until it lines up with the key way, and it slides all the way up. Put your bolt in. And I try to go hand tight until the pulley, so the pulley won't fall down. And there's fingers right here on the engine. These fingers do not move. You definitely don't want to use a pry bar and not take this pulley off, because if you bend the pulley, the belt's going to shake, rattle, and roll. You don't want that. And you can also bend the tangs. You can bend a whole bunch of stuff. Just don't use a pry bar up there. Just take this engine pulley off and you'll be much better off. 5/8, tighten it up. 5/8 socket. Okay, we need to put the steering down, and as you can see, it has a bushing here. It's falling out a little bit. Now I'm going to go up top. I'm going to try to push it right through that center slot. You should start to see it come through right about now. Felt like it went through okay? It did? Okay, good. Now sometimes we have to push the steering back up again to get our gear on. And I'm going to line up the spots even though you don't need to, but it may actually slide onto the shaft easier that way. Yeah, see the steering shaft just went up, so that actually helped me get the gear on. And as you can see, the shaft doesn't want to come down on the gear. Now I'm going to just hold my right hand here. I'm going to try to push down up from up top. All right, so there we go. Now I'll get the nut on. Now if you have everything lined up correctly, you should be able to have a straight steering wheel up top. As long as you have 2 teeth of this gear inside that line. It doesn't have to be those 2 teeth. I just use them for reference to get it to slide back on the shaft. It's a 19mm socket. And again, I'm going to hold the tires. That's got to be tight. Make sure it's tight. Make sure it moves. Yeah, there's a lot of slop in here. This guy's got a lot of wear and tear on this. Definitely recommend him doing that. Now at this point, before we put the guide on, I'm going to go ahead and let the clutch brake out. And that will put tension on the drive belt. Now, tension on the drive belt is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Some people are like, oh, it's sloppy. It's just the way it is. This spring tension right here is all that's putting tension on it. This has been around, I mean, this is probably, I forget what year this is made. If you want to know what year your machine was made, just look at the sticker on the inside wheel well. But let's just say this year is 2026. This could be like a 2019 model or something, but nothing's changed. It's always been like that. They work just perfectly fine. All right, so the guide, you have to just basically find the hole with your finger to is where you insert it. Okay, this is definitely a bugger, but you got to get it on there. Maybe it's easier doing it from above the tire with an Allen key, but I've been doing it this way for 3 years. Finally got it. Once you get it started, and make sure you don't cross thread it, so make sure you're in straight. And then it's just a tedious process of righty-tighty. And it needs to be in there correctly. As soon as you push that pedal down, your belt loses tension extreme. And this guide is very, very important for keeping the belt on the back of the pulley. Just give it a couple good little snugs. Don't go too crazy. You're going into an aluminum case. You don't want to strip it. Okay. So now we need to double check, make sure we're running our V pulley, V of the belt on the V, the flat on the flat. Everything looks good. We're up past our steering. We're up on our engine. Good to go. So that pretty much wraps it up for how to remove and install your transmission drive belt. At this point, we're going to go ahead and put it down, take it for a test run. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. Share my channel with your friends, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.